than that entire game we made years ago. But anyway, it's medium size.
It's medium size.
Yeah.
So this area is actually right outside of Redcliffe Village, which people who play Dragon Age Origins will be familiar with. So it's a bit more settled than some of other areas. You can see there's a lot of buildings around. Most of them burned out because of the conflict between the Mages and the Templars.
And also, for anyone who's been playing the EA Early Access on Xbox One, you will be able to bring your progress across, obviously, after your 6 hours are finished as well. So,
yeah, it basically makes save right on your machine. And
yeah.
You just load that save. So that character. Also, if you had keep imports built in, that will load across as well.
Yep. So for people in the North America and most of Asia, I think that will unlock tonight. And for Europe, I imagine that it's going to unlock on Friday when the release happens in Europe on the 21st.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about the keep and importing your decisions and actions from Origins and Dragon Age 2 into Inquisition.
Okay, so because of the platform switch and also because of the rather shoddy state of the save games from previous games, we are using the Dragon Age Keep. The Dragon Age Keep is designed to build up your choices from Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2. It's actually a beautiful way to do so. You actually interact with a tapestry of choices. You click into them and make choices and change the way that you basically indicate how you played the previous games.
Yeah.
When you start up a Dragon Age Inquisition game, you will have the opportunity to import those choices into your game, and then that's what will be reflected in the game.
Yep. So Dragon Age Keep is dakeep.com, right?
Dragon Age Keep.
DragonAgeKeep.com.
DA Keep might work as well. But
if you've never played a Dragon Age before and want to bone up on the lore, it's not a terrible way to do so. It's not really designed as an introduction, but it's if you give some time to it, you can figure out some of the major events of the last 10 years or so.
One of the parts that is helpful if you're new is there's an interactive story summary. So Varric, who just talked, will read through kind of the history of Origins, the history of Dragon Age 2. He'll bring all those elements out. And as he does so, what Varric will do is offer moments where you basically can say, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And change it, and then that will serve as the basis for your world summary. In doing so, you can tweak it, and we actually, I think it just went live. I know we just released a video of it. There is the additional element added in just now where it talks a little bit about the Conclave and what happens just before Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yep. And I believe you can also share, so once you've set up your own custom world state, I believe you can share that on like Facebook or Twitter or something like that.
And across the keep itself.
Yeah, which is really cool. So if any of the devs are actually watching right now, like it'd be pretty cool to have our stuff go out there. I might do that later on because I set mine up about a week ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine has Logain as a survivor.
Oh, really?
Which is, I think, a little edgy, Casey.
Yeah.
So at this point, who are we? We are not yet the Inquisitor, in fact, at this point in the game.
No, the character at this point is known more as the Herald of Andraste because you seem to have survived a disaster, and people think you might be kind of miraculous.
Seem to have survived. Wait. That.
Right.
You've been dead all along.
I think that's a really interesting theme that runs throughout the game as well. That concept of people believing that maybe you're the sort of savior almost, right? And whether you believe that or not, and how you then communicate that to the world is really quite an interesting concept. So
yeah, and I think we recognized fairly early on as we started to do this that of course players weren't going to want always to fall into the role of like religious savior character. And so we said, well, how can we tackle that? And the nice thing is our dialogue systems allow us very easily to set up world states where, you have not just said, oh, I don't believe this, but characters start remembering that later, calling you on it. If you start going back on your words, different comments will come up where they're like, but wait, earlier you said X, and that. Of course, can be concerning.
Yeah.
Characters are trying to trust you. I might be heading into Dragon Town.
You are definitely heading to Dragon Town. You're gonna get slaughtered.
So I was watching on Twitch a guy. I actually was lucky enough I tuned in live because I know some people were catching it. A guy was actually fighting this dragon, and it took him. I think he brought it down. He was level 12. I think he was playing a normal.
Okay.
So you know, still a good challenge. Took him about 19 minutes to bring it down.
Yeah.
As you can see, dragons will now fly around the world. They'll move. Burning fires will actually remain damaging, despite being in water. Some sort of napalm-like spit.
It floats on the surface. It's fine.
Right. So obviously, this dragon is not to be toyed with. She's in the level 12 to 13 range. Given that I was being killed by rogues at level 7, I'm probably not set to be here.
No, but I'll come back later in the day, maybe in the next hour, and I'll kill this dragon. Yeah, I'm gonna hope to die. Sorry, hope to kill it. Hope to die.
Yeah.
I die so often on these.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the dragons are.
Patrick's laughing at me right now. It's because I'm distracted, man.
They're designed to be kind of a top tier encounter.
Yeah, definitely.
When you first see them, you usually are not ready to face them.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is go tackle them by. Fire resist potions, craft armor, craft weapons to bring it down.
Gain more than 4 levels.
Be more than level 4. That is a powerful method.
But again, this speaks to the fact that we don't auto-scale the world, right? Like we want players to be able to come up against challenges that you know requires a little bit of thought and preparation for. And if that preparation is go and level some more, get more powerful, and come back later on, then great.
Now let's talk for a second here because I'm actually at a transition point. I'm not going to do it, but talk a bit about multi-region and how that applies to our approach on open world.
Yeah, I mean, the story that we're telling in Inquisition is really a massive story. You know, Origins was a very vast story, quite an epic kind of feel to it. DA2 was set in Kirkwall, so it was a much more personal story. And with Inquisition, we've gone back to this really big, broad story. It's a story that spans both Ferelden and Ollage, so 2 nations in Thedas. And so, because the story is that big, it requires that we take the player across those 2 locations, those 2 countries, and it allows us to have almost like the highlight reel of the world, right? So we get to visit these, you know, really cool different locations throughout the world as we're telling the story. So you get a lot of variety in the world. You get deserts, swamps, and bless you, mate. And so it gives you more variety in the world. It gives you more you know, an opportunity to encounter different types of people, different types of creatures, you know, different aspects of the story as you explore these different open regions in the world.
Now, just so we don't go spoiling anything, I'm not going to pursue this this little quest line here.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It is a fascinating one. You'll notice one thing that is worth calling out, just while I have it on screen, is that in these lighter conversations where you're not blown into full-blown cinematics, you retain control over the camera, something that we have never done before, where you have the ability to shift it around, reposition, and you can actually leave the conversation. As you walk away, the characters will register it.
So
the conversation will end.
So I know some people were curious about why we did that. So do you want to go into that a little bit? Because we've still got the big cinematic storytelling and conversation.
Yeah. So the big thing for us was that we recognized, and this was a very popular request from fans, was they wanted to have conversations where you know, they could talk to their followers and just be like, hey, how you feeling about stuff, or tell me more about your background, that were a little smaller. And as we started to work into the open world, we realized there were going to be a lot of conversations as well.
Yeah.
But we didn't always want, you know, you run past a peasant and he goes, hello, and then suddenly you're stuck in a cinematic and you're interrupted from exploring. So instead, this allows that conversation to begin. He can actually get a few lines. You can see your possible responses, all while still moving, retaining control.
Yeah.
And if you move away, the character then goes, okay, well, goodbye, and they register that. So that put us in a point where we didn't interrupt your experience constantly. Or if you went back to your followers, talked to them at camp and said, hey, tell me more about your history, and like in Origins, they have parts where they'll repeat. You can ask them about it again.
Yep.
But you might be like, oh, there's nothing new here. Then you can simply exit out and turn away and walk. Instead of something I always found a little awkward, which is, hello, goodbye. Which was a little off. Now, big story moments, though, we wanted to make sure that we had that kind of storytelling.
We just picked up a ring, so maybe we should take this
sure.
opportunity to go into the inventory.
I'm a fan of this. Ooh,
that's not the inventory.
It's the PS4 controller. It's
So
too smooth.
the first thing a lot of people asked us when we showed this for the first time was, well, where's my gloves and where's my legs, right? Where's my shoes, you know? So
That is an awesome name for an armor.
Nugs died for this coat. Yes, there you go. And people think I'm cruel to the animals.
That is Nugskin, right?
It is Nugskin, yeah.
So if we dig in, actually, you can see it right here. So I'm comparing to the armor I'm wearing. You can compare different elements from what you're wearing. But yes, the arms and legs are considered upgrades.
Yes.
And not every armor has them available. If you're wearing what I tend to think of as faction armor, so this is a Templar Commander armor, it's one big unit. But in these, it will change the appearance of the arms and the legs as you equip them.
Yep, so you can either craft or find in the world, or even buy different arms and legs, you know, and then insert, and they have different stats and appearances as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can insert those into your suit of armor, and then it makes one whole set. But you still have arms and legs in the world, so...
Yes.
Yeah. And this one doesn't have any equipped right now.
Yep. No, I don't think Lady Insanity has any at the moment. And we picked up an enhanced parry ring.
Yeah, this one's quite good. A lot of the rings in the game are now tied to specific abilities, and they'll increase the damage or duration. But again, you only have 2 ring slots, so in this case, this character actually has parry, so I can choose which slot I want to use. So that's absolutely worth doing, because parry turn is essentially a stop enemy and counter attack. Parry's in yeah, there it is, down here in the center. So this one is nice in that it's almost a sustain. On PC controls, it would be more of a toggle, but if I take out this Fennec, obviously I don't have the chance to parry him, but you can see my character will hold for a brief period of time this pose, and if that counters an enemy, you do a counter attack that can stun them.
Yep.
And in this case, the counterattack does even more damage.
Because of the ring we just picked up.
Right.
Additionally, you can switch armor and weapons on your followers. So that is something that we did bring back. In fact, maybe we should go actually in and take a look at...
Let's see, I don't know if I have any mage armor.
You have...
No, just apprentice. Let's see what we have here.
This is so early in the game that there's really
no... We have...
Okay, so you can see different classes.
Oh, there we go. There's something different. So, not better than what he's wearing, but...
Yeah. And of course, yeah, color and texture are baked into items that you craft and items you loot based on the materials they're built out of. So,
something people that are familiar with the franchise are probably curious about is whether or not Varric can use something else other than Bianca.
Oh.
So, yes, I think it's probably worth... Do we have?
Let's go buy some stuff. You want to go to the crossroads and buy some
Sure.
stuff? There's a merchant there. So.
Yes. So he can't use other bows.
Yes.
That we can confirm, because seriously, if you had that, why would you use a bow? But he can use daggers. Do we happen to loot a dagger? No.
No. Okay, so we
So
need to go
close.
get ourselves some daggers.
All right.
Because of the fact that we have we're multi-region open world, it actually allows us to have enemies that are specific to different areas. So you see rams and fennec in the hinterlands. If you go into the desert, you're going to see different wilderness creatures, different hostile things. Here, we're outside of Redcliffe. This is where a lot of the rebel mages move. So a lot of the enemies are mage or Templar related. But in other areas, you're going to see different factions to fight as well. So, where are we? Oh, yeah, here we are in the crossroads.
I have no idea who that guy was. An infiltrator of some sort. All right. So, obviously, the economy of the world is a big deal. If we go in here, you can take a look at basically everything he has in the weapons category. Here's his armor, accessories, upgrades, and this is actually how... Yeah, so Bianca is one item. There is never any change, but the arms are actually the heart of the damage that Bianca does. So you can find those throughout the world. You can craft them, find schematics, build them with different effects. As well,
materials.
If you're curious, you can use... Yeah, this is a big thing is, well, geez, I don't want to go hunting nugs and I'm late in the game, so I'm just going to go buy a bunch of nug skin because I just really like that pink, what have you. Absolutely possible. Also, to your point, you guys were talking about being able to use the go find these creatures and stuff. You see that with herbs a lot with alchemy. Like, I remember someone asking, like, where do I find death root? It's always in the desert, so we had to just direct them there. Those are used for things like the Antivan fire grenade recipe here. That permanently unlocks the ability for me to equip Antivan fire on my guys, which is a long burning AoE that's
really cool.
For, like, kind of that space that will burn. Yep. And
so we've got about 10 minutes left. Coming up next is audio, and I think Cameron is going to try and fail to kill the dragon.
Yeah.
So we will have Jeremy Wallow. He is the audio director on Dragon Age Inquisition up next, along with Cameron. So if you're tuning in to listen to him and you have no idea who we are, I'm Mark Darrah, executive producer for Dragon Age Inquisition, and with me I have Cameron Lee and Mike Laidlaw. Cameron is producer, and Mike Laidlaw is the creative director of Dragon Age Inquisition. Today we are going behind the scenes of Dragon Age Inquisition. It's right before launch, so we are going to be showing a lot of different things, avoiding spoilers mostly, giving you behind the scenes look at how the game was made, some of the decisions we made, and just giving you an overview of the game as a whole. And that took less time than I thought.
It did. So there's your Inquisition soldiers training. So you've basically come in at this point, helped the Crossroads fend off an attack, and you're bringing in your Inquisition soldiers to essentially protect the refugees that are in this area.
Yeah, one of my favorite little touches, I remember this one in fairly late, is that the designer for this area was like, I want to push this up. So originally, the area wasn't on fire. It is when you first arrive here. And then he stripped it completely of people and just put a big rolling fight in here. And then it was this. He added this and just was like, under protection of the Inquisition. Yeah. It's one of the first moments. It's very early in the game, so it's one of the first moments where you kind of feel like, oh, wow, I kind of made my mark on the world. And when he really nailed that, because I wanted this one to be a big deal, it felt great.
Well, it's one of the things you're doing throughout the game is spreading the Inquisition, gathering and strengthening it, because it's one of the tools you're going to use to do the things you need to do.
Yeah, it's kind of this core metaphor for progress in a way. The Inquisition does not, it's not just sort of a story beat, it's also like the mechanic by which story is unlocked. So, hey, you've gotten our guys a bunch of weapons, or you solved a bunch of quests, and people are talking to the Inquisition. That makes us powerful enough to pursue the storyline. There's a ram.
There's a ram.
And it's really cool to see that influence spread throughout the world. So as you take as you set up more Inquisition camps throughout the world, as you build towers to defend, different parts, or repair a bridge, and you start to see your Inquisition forces spread throughout the world, which is really neat.
This is one of my favorite little areas in the, and I didn't see. I was watching Twitch all over the weekend. I didn't see anyone actually.
I've never been up here.
Exactly, because everyone just runs right through, and there's usually a Fade Rift on the other side. The neat thing is actually, the Fade Rift's still there, so you can. So pro tip. You can actually head up here, up top, to get kind of a nice scout to see what kind of demons there are. And if we go back down, quickly, off the ladder, folks. Here we go. Oh, and
you're in combat. Fell off the ladder.
No, it teleported. It's I got knocked down. That was a
nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. They can move on through the ground, so it chased me. Okay.
Nightmare don't care.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I didn't realize it spotted me, but...
Solus is just running back up the ladder. He's like, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, this is actually... So at this point, a disengage, and then...
get out to better ground.
Here is a really good call, then by engaging in combat again. So take that shade down. There we go. That got everybody down off the ladder, at least. Not fighting on 2 levels. Now for this...
Where is Cass? Oh, there she is.
Yeah, she's out there. Yeah.
Well,
not the most effective way, but it wored.
It did work.
You got it done.
So I'm on the edge of the Fade Rift. That green mist is basically if I leave that zone to withdraw too hard, then that will end the combat. While I've committed, and while we're in our last minute or two here. There we go.
Yeah. So as the Inquisitor, you've been marked by your experience in the Fade, essentially. And you have an ability to manipulate these smaller Fade Rifts that have been opening up throughout the world as a result of the big breach in the sky. So as you close these rifts, you earn influence and power for your Inquisition, which, as Mike said earlier, is then you can then sort of spend to progress the story.
Now, if you close those rifts, or if you kill dragons, do those things come back?
So rifts and dragons do not.
Enemies will always spawn in the zone, so always be bandits or monsters, depending on what kind of zone you're in. But you will never find the major encounters like the rifts returning. Would take away some of the.
It's sort of the point. Is
progress,
one of the things
Yeah.
you're actually doing is actually restoring order. And from the dragon perspective, you do not breed a new high dragon in
10 minutes.
10
No.
minutes.
Come on, why not? Steroids and stuff.
What? Maybe 100.
Wow, I'm never buying anything from your farm.
Yeah, I got you, dragon, right here.
Got you.
Don't
The
worry about
5-minute cow, the Cameron Lee farm. And you got yourself some
What'd you get? Some loot?
it. Let's search.
fade watermelon.
Some iron.
Yeah, all stuff that's been sucked up into the rift.
And 1 power. Power is essentially the currency of the Inquisition. You spend it to go on
Up there. Up there.
up there. Yes.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have
I
9.
guess you use it to unlock other areas and go on the critical path missions. Probably worth a little bit of explanation. So there are 3 things that the Inquisition gets. So you get power, which is essentially like currency. You spend that. You get influence, which is effectively the XP of the Inquisition. And then as the Inquisition levels up, you get perk points you spend, which is essentially the Inquisition acting on your behalf. Maybe you hire a very good tailor who gives you deeper pockets, or you get scholars, which means you get additional XP from picking up codex entries. That sort of thing. They're little, almost like feats that change your experience through the power of the Inquisition.
And there is a conversation one, like a persuade type perk, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It will add moments. I know the nobility one comes in handy during a couple particular plots. There's some really neat ones with the arcane knowledge. Even if you're not a mage, it can give you the kind of that experience. And it looks like our hour is up. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I think Mark and I'll be back later. Cam's going to stay here and give it a whirl.
Okay.
We're going to talk about audio coming up, and then after that, well, who knows? It'll be a surprise.
Somebody knows. There's a sheet right here. Like, see? People know.
Well, now everybody knows. That's probably screen captain up on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh.
Cool.
All right.
Also, there's a brand new trailer, apparently.
Yes. Is
What?
this the first time it's been showed?
Are we rolling
It
that
is.
now?
So there you go. The world
Exclusive?
exclusive.
Of this trailer
Yes.
called
the trailer.
Also,
A trailer
also-
called Make Sure You Mute.
make sure you
apparently.
mute. Also,
All right, hang on, let's mute.
Connell doesn't realize he has his caps locks on.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to roll that now, and when we
Yep.
come back, it'll be audio and dragons.
Yep.
Awesome.
And we're muting.
Cool.
Go.
Thanks.
Xbox One, now $349.